ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the ProQuest Stockholm. It's no longer the Battle Hardened, technically.
Yes, but we are at the Battle Hardened Stockholm event.
Exactly. So, kind of a little bit of both. I'm back here with my co-host Peter.
Yay, and I'm with the boy Boyd.
That is me. And we are about to set up for some interesting games. But before we go into that, we have this little screen that we have whipped up for you.
Yes.
So we have Rai and Dennis here, and we can see that they are just about finished setting up, and they are currently thinking about their turn 0.
So this is like, this is what I love about the LL format. This could have been classic constructed, Sen with double needles, stubby hammers versus chain with Rosetta Torn, and that's actually quite crazy, isn't it?
It is, if you think about it, and this is, you got to keep in mind as well that Living Legends, it has some bands, but it does not have most of the bands that Classic Constructed has. So we do see more of those cards available, and not just the stubby hammers, but all of the stuff that was taken from Zen in the recent book banning, like the Art of War, and everything that made him that powerhouse where he could just take games off the back of one turn sometimes.
Yes, and there's also restrictions. So Sen can only play one bounce of Ancestry in his 80 card deck.
But he is able to tutor for it, of course.
Yes.
And find it.
So this feels, especially since the Sen gets to start, I feel this is not favored for Chain, as as Chain doesn't get the setup turn, and Chain really needs to go and become the Soul Shackle 4 and 5 to do the most broken things.
Yeah, we talked about this a little earlier in the game. Chain is a train that takes a little bit to get going, and then once it gets going, there is no stopping it. But
Zen is a bomb.
Exactly. If you put a bomb on a train rails, anyone that's ever seen an old western knows what happens next. Well, the train gets robbed, which is where things kind of fall apart. But you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah, it's a fine analogy. Here, if I'm Dennis, I'll breathe a sigh of relief. No transcend on turn 1. Whew! Exactly. You always want to see that. I saw that in the Chain community, we have the joke that the good Chain players, they draw the Art of War, while the bad one, they banish it. So Dennis is beating the bad allegations by having it in his hand. I do believe this is a card reserved for the Arsenal. He's going to wait until he maybe gets to Soul Shackle 2, and then we're going to see some fireworks. So here he is thinking about, okay, what's the most I could do with 3 cards? Because he really, I don't think he wants to fire it up right now.
Yes, I think you are likely right, but we do see him firing it there.
Yes. I mean, if the hand is really bad, then you just do it because you need to filter the cards.
Yes, and I was also sort of thinking, we were just talking about how Zen is quick. Chain might feel that pressure, and Dennis might be thinking, I need to immediately start pressuring this Zen. I need to take him low enough that if he has the power turn and takes me to 10 life, we're then at equal life, rather than me being 30 life down.
Oof, now I feel old. This is a classic card. Captain's Call. Not usually played in the current versions of Chain, but it's a generic non-attack that can give pump or go again. So it's like very an old school card. So he's giving +1 and go again 2. No, he's giving it +2 because it gives it go again with Chain. So this is a this is a snuff out for 8. The only problem with this snuff out is that if I'm Chain, I don't really want to destroy my shackle to make Rai discard a card. But I mean,
exactly, because he does, in order for the snuff out on hit to work, he needs to destroy an aura he controls, and then that forces his opponent to then discard a card.
Yes.
The only aura he controls is that Soul Shackle, and as you're saying, that is the train, that is the rails that the Chain train is driving on. He does not want to be taking those out from under him. He wants more of those, not less.
Yes, I do believe that this stuff out is a card that should be played in Chain, because it is powerful and it helps you with the super aggressive matchups. But you really don't want to see it when the only aura you have is the Soul Shackle. You might start considering playing Malefic as well, just to have some other auras to destroy and get yourself the Visrai cosplay.
Exactly, but it depends a little bit on what the situation is like, because Snuff Out says when it hits, you may destroy an aura. So Dennis does not have to make that decision yet.
Yes.
It is first he gets to see how badly the Zen wants to block.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Zen definitely wants to block this, so he does not want to lose that card.
Yes. So, but the thing is that he could just discarded one of the cards he blocked with, and then it actually got to 1, and it chose him to discard it. Oh yeah, so this is the fabled 4-2 blocks.
Exactly. As a Riptide player, I have been there myself many times, where your opponent throws some gas, and you're sitting there with 4 pumps, going like, I will block with my whole hand, and still only block 8. But yeah.
So I think this was a smart play from Rai. That he basically passed the turn, and he took 6 damage. But he forced Dennis to make the choice, because now Chain only has a 5-card hand.
Exactly. I don't remember exactly what the last card was in Rai's hand. I think it might have been at Belittle. But this could have been a good bait as well, where you just keep the 3 cards and it's like, I really want to hold on to this card, and then Dennis destroys a Soul Second, and you're like, okay, this is a card that doesn't really matter in a vacuum.
Yes, but you also, I also think he identifies that the hand was not strong, that it didn't do anything. It didn't have chi. It didn't put on a lot of numbers. Most likely, that it's also fun with the LL that sometimes you just get because you're playing cards that have higher ceilings. Some of them has lower floor, which means that when you don't get the synergy, they are quite bad.
Yes, no, I hear what you're saying, and we're kind of seeing it also in that if we look at classic constructed decks, you'll see people play generics. You see them playing like the weakest link, Command and Conquer, Sink Belows, but they're usually like very straightforward. Sink Belows is played because it blocks for 4, and few other cards usually do that, but a Brute deck will still be mostly Brute cards.
Yes.
Mechanologist deck is going to be all Mechanologist. Runeblade will be mostly Runeblade. And in this deck we see, these types of decks, we see way more of those generics because of those funky synergies that exist. But that does mean that if you have one of those cards that's really good, but that this does say something along the lines of you need a Runeblade card to activate this, and you're sitting there with your Belittled, then you are going to be scratching your head a little.
Yeah. One card I hope Dennis plays, which is a favorite of mine, is a yellow non-attack from Party Mistwale, and it gives 3 different buff. It gives plus 3 to a blue card, plus 2 to a yellow, and plus 1 to a red. I think there it is.
You were talking about Prismatic Ley Line.
Yeah, I think that is a very, very cool innovation of the chain deck, because you play yellow cards, you play blue cards, you play red cards. So this is like, if you get all the buffs, it's a 0 for 6, which is crazy value on a yellow.
Exactly. Yeah, it's you were right. I actually bought 3 copies of this myself at some point because I saw them being played in Riptide lists.
In Riptide?
Yeah, because he ended up having these situations where sometimes you have the blue arrows you're firing, sometimes you're playing Rainbow Bolt and Shot if you're trying to do some sort of aggro things, and if it lines up, then yeah, no, absolutely the value is right there.
Yeah.
It is hard to line up.
It's hard to line up, but it's easier when you have like 8 cards to work with, as chains sometimes do.
Yeah, that makes a very big difference indeed.
So there's the last card is a Belittle in hand. So he's going to close the chain and activate chain. It's a very funny thing to say.
Yes, I've been actively trying not to make puns about the chain combat.
Yeah,
chain,
break the chain.
It just automatically sort of happens, even when you're trying not to.
Yeah, it's a
reverse caster's curse.
The designers are forcing me. No. So here we're gonna also see a oldie but goodie card. The name escapes me, but I know the effect. So it says you have to have played a non-attack to play it, and when you attack, you may put a non-attack shadow blood depth card on the bottom of the deck. There it is. Unhallowed Rites. Usually not strong enough to play. It was tech against Guardians and Fatigue deck to get more cards on the bottom. But I mean, whatever when the man is cooking, and now it looks like it's Sen's turn to play. He's just gonna pay the Piper, taking a lot of damage. This is Rosetta Tor for 5 with the help of Grasp of the Arcanite.
Yeah, but here's the thing about Living Legend. If you chain, you're not unhappy about that turn. You just took your opponent down to 18 life. But also, if you are up against a Living Legend Zen that just kept his entire hand in an arsenal, I'm going to be scared either way.
I am scared. So, one breath of relief for Dennis is that he didn't start the turn by activating Stubbies. That's when the alarm goes off. Then you know you're in for a bad time.
Exactly. We do see a Transcend.
Yes.
For Rai.
Oh my god. 3 floating.
So he's going to look for... I wouldn't be surprised if this is the Bonds of Harmony.
It might be if he has the setup. But this is also... I don't think he will get Bonds here.
Yeah, because he only has the one. And
he has one, and he's going to reserve it for the Stubbies turn. Exactly. Or usually the Sen is in CC, Sen has 1 quest. It is Transcend. In LL, Sen has 2 quests. It's Transcend and Draw Art of War.
Yes, exactly. Because he's Trying to set up for Art of War with the stubbies, I guess,
Yes.
and then just do the one.
And then yes, yes, the third quest. Have a combo card, a good combo card in the graveyard. Those are the three things, and then you're ready to explode.
Yeah, and that makes sense because when that happens, we see Zen doing sort of the things that Zen normally already does, where he has these really long combat chains. But normally those attacks come for 1 and 2, and then occasionally for 4. But if you have the Art of War and the stubbies going, those attacks are coming for 3 and 4 and 3, and sometimes for 6,
7, and 5, and oh my god!
And then at that point, you're sitting there with your hand blocking 12, most likely at most.
The tigers are extremely scary when he has 2 floating anthem effects.
Yes, indeed. So we're still seeing Raya still responding to his own play of levels of enlightenment.
He wants to get
transcending and getting cards and doing all of that.
Want to get all the blue he needs, so he can choose as much modes as possible. So this is typically gonna be I think it's just gonna be a 2 blue because he has 3 floating, so it's very hard to get another one. 2 blue, go again and draw a card.
It also makes me wonder here, Peter.
Yes.
If I were in Chain's shoes, I would have been really happy to have a Carrion Husk in my chest piece now, but we see a Dyadic Carapace, which I feel like if you have the Carrion Husk in your deck at all, you're playing it against Zen, aren't you? At least, I guess usually he doesn't attack for that high numbers.
No, actually you prefer this one.
Interesting. What is the idea behind that, Peter?
Because if you Husk a 4 attack, then it effectively blocks for 3 because you lose a life instantly.
Oh, you're right. And because of the
and then next turn you lose another life. Then it blocked for 2. So but if you just if you block a 4 attack with the Dryatic, then you take 2. So initially it's worse, but after 2 turns it's the same and even better as Husk. And Sen, he doesn't get over 6. It's mostly going to be 5 or less.
Yes, but then again, with the Art of War and the Stubborers,
you only go to 5. There's only the Tiger Swipe that goes to 6 because the 3 they have to be 3 or base to go higher.
It's actually kind of a close break point then, because 5 seems like it's still an okay block with the Carrion Husk, but you are right, you immediately lose that 1 life, and then you have 4 turns before it's...
Yes, so it's... I think you don't want to be... You also can get trapped as Chain, where you have to block a lot, and then Husk is a drawback, not a boon, because then you are taking more and more blood depth while you're trying to wait for the opponent to present a weak turn.
It makes sense, because other heroes that play Husk, like Leviah, have a way to turn off that blood depth damage, and then they don't care that it's just sitting there anyway. But for Chain, with like his only way to turn off blood depth is to just play the cards that are there, and you can't play it.
You can't get rid of the Husk, sadly, or goodly. Depends on which side. So I think the reason to play Husk is that you want to prevent on hits and prevent and keep the tempo. But against the turbo aggro decks like Sen and Aurora and Lexi, I don't think the Husk is doing what you want it to do. It's much better against slightly slower decks like a Guardian and like a Guardian. What other decks? Leviah, I guess.
You would want it against Starvo perhaps to get around to dominate. But
yes, Starvo is very good.
I see where you're coming from, but it looks like our players have mostly finished doing all of the shuffling and such that was a part of the Transcend cards, I think, and finding the combo.
Yes.
So we now see Rai continuing his chain, Dennis taking some damage, electing not to block just yet.
Yes. What I think is interesting is that he chose to get blue belittle. That might be because he doesn't play red, because he has so many resources. What on God's green earth is he going to pay with 5 resources at this point? So Dennis here, he's like, you take your tiger, man. I don't care. You don't have any pumps.
Yeah, I think we might end up seeing this go down in a race. Maybe Dennis is saying, okay, no blocks, give me what you got. I got you to 19 hit points now. Let's see if you can get me lower than that, because if I keep a full grip and I do 20 damage again, you are going to be forced into blocking.
Yes. But now he has completed 2 out of 3 quests. He has a good combo card in his grave, which is the Tiger Swipe, and he has Transcended. Oh, here Dennis, he can't resist popping the needles.
Yeah, that does make sense, because those needles represent a lot of damage over the course of the game. So if you can pop them, you want to, but of course, Ninja players are going to be smart enough to make sure that...
Only present them when they're ready to lose them.
Yes, or when blocking them would be highly inconvenient for your opponent, so then they're going to make you pay for doing it.
Yes. The card Dennis blocked with is a traditionally weak card in the hand, but a very good card on the from the banish. So it makes sense. I agree with Dennis for blocking here, but I think Rai is surprised at this, because now the turn slowed down. It's like, huh? Why are you popping my needle, bro? I need it for later.
Exactly. And I think that's also why we see both of them taking a pause now, or almost Rai, because he was ready to just go. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
He's thinking, my opponent isn't blocking. We are down to a race. I'm just going to complete my chain and hit them with as much damage as I can, and then see what they have back. But now suddenly Dennis is throwing that block up when Rai wasn't expecting it. So now Rai has to reevaluate. Okay.
Yes.
I maybe hold back a little bit. Maybe
because we know. Yeah. This is. So he was. I think it was. Am I prepared to lose both needles?
Yes.
And this is also a good card to block with, because it's not that good on the hand. So he closes the chain, and he plays the blue Belittle to pump the tiger for 1. Oh, here he comes.
He's just trying to not take an IP, I think, at this point.
Yes.
Trying to make sure that he has one
I think he's
left.
going to Arsenal the last card.
That would make sense. But
Yes.
that is interesting to see, because, well, it was still a high damage turn, but we see Chain with 2 cards left and an
Yes.
Arsenal, so 3 to play with.
Yes, and maybe a 4th one if we are up all night to get lucky.
Exactly, and he is still 6 health up, and Zen does
Boom,
not have
of
any
course,
weapons
he's the best, as we say in Norway.
Oh, there we go.
That Riftbind is a hood classic. It's one of the cards that like always withstood the test of time, because it scaled so well. So here Dennis is happy just doing a setup turn. He's activating Grasp with 2 seeds, and he's just taking the damage. That's very interesting. I think this is very smart play by Dennis, because he has played a lot against Sen, and I think this was very smart, because if this was the go turn, you don't want to give Sen the opportunity to block with helmet.
Yes, exactly, because then he's just going to grab that chi out of the deck for free.
Yes.
That is what I was thinking about earlier. I was talking about how they might race each other, but even so, like, Zen is on 19. If you can do 19 as Chain, you're going to have to get through the armor. There's going to be a block with the boots and with the helm. So
yes.
That's 3 immediately. So you would have to do 22 damage to kill him, which...
Yeah, and then the chest, you can also block with the chest.
Yes.
It all depends if the Art of War... It's interesting that Dennis didn't consider giving the most expensive Iron Rot in front of this blue one attack. Here we go.
Since Zen got to keep his hand, we are seeing him do Zen things, which is
yes.
going white, attacking, coming for 1 or for 4.
But now Dennis is not that scared, because he knows there will not be 2 more needles for 4, which is a very good conversion rate. 2 damage for 4 damage. So there might be a very good heads-up play, being patient at popping the needles.
Yes, I think the needles is going to be, however this match ends, the needles are going to be living inside the mind of one of these players for a long time. If Zen ends up losing this, there's going to be this question of, was I too aggressive with them? Should I have kept them back? And if Dennis ends up losing this, he's thinking, maybe I should not have blocked out. Maybe I should have been racing those needles.
Yeah, this is very interesting. So they're 19 apiece. Rai has only 2 cards left. What can he do with 2 cards? And I think this would have been a very scary turn if he had Chi in hand, because then one more Tiger for the Chase the Tail, and a good and then he could, if it's like Whelming Gust Wave or something, then he could have gotten the Bonds. Ooh, Warmongers, the restricted cards in NL.
That is definitely a, and then this is always, I think we've had it happen yesterday as well, and I think always when you're seeing something like a ninja just go wide, or wide, and then you're like, oh, they're finally done, and then they play something that disrupts your entire turn right after you've chosen not to block.
Yeah, and it's it's messed up, man.
It's a very painful call for.
Yes. So now, I was like, damn, it feels like the ball is in Daddy's court. He's gonna to banish 2 cards and have a full grip. Okay, but here we see the pure skill. He actually wanted to miss here, because now he only takes 1 damage. He can also take 0 if you just place that card, but it feels kind of a waste to just get rid of a very good banish card. So what is he pitching for?
He has a snuff out there in the bench.
Yes.
Well, I guess he's not allowed to play that from the bench.
No, he said peace. Interesting.
Yeah, he's thinking, if I can't hit Zen hard enough to kill him.
Yes.
Without.
So the same thing again. Not want to give him the opportunity to block with the helm.
Exactly. So he's thinking, then I might as well set up as best as I possibly can. But then the awkwardness that begins is that Chain is a rune blade. You almost forget it sometimes because he doesn't make all of that many rune chants. But
yes.
But he doesn't have that Florian or Viserai effect where he's like, okay, this sucks, but I will say peace, and then I will just make 10 rune chants and you're a go.
Yeah.
At some point I'm gonna bring the herds. But Chain he can't quite do that. He has all of these bumps that he plays on his own turn. He's trying to play out a large hand more than make a large amount of rune chants.
Yes. And here we see levels of enlightenment and the ability to activate Sen getting a Tiger. So let's see which combo card he's going for now.
And levels is a good way to sort of start this off, because it does immediately then allow Rai to transcend. And that is how we are seeing him.
Yes, it's one of the best blue starters in the game for the Mystic Heroes.
And the question now is he going to get that bonds? Is it go time? It looks like no. That is a Tiger something. There are so many cards with Tiger in the name.
Yeah, it is Chase the Tail.
Is that the Chase the Tail?
Yes.
Oh yes, you were right. I am seeing it now.
So it's one of the best Majestics, but it's also it just makes a good turn good. But it's not that card you get when you need to make a good turn great. So he's gonna draw another card. There's also interesting thing that Dennis is not playing Ballads of Justice. He's opted to go for the Face Purgatory, and I like it because Face Purgatory it can help you a lot if you need to mulligan your hand. It can draw you that last desperate card.
Yeah, there's a lot of plays you can make. The Face Purgatory is the headpiece that our Chain player is using, and it says if you block with it, and you also block with an attack and a non-attack, then your opponent has to discard a card, and you get to draw a card. So you do have to block with those 2 cards, but you draw 1 back. So you refill your hand a little bit. And
here it comes.
Yes, exactly. And if you put it down at the right moment, like it looks like Dennis is hoping to do right now, he is going to force a card out of Rai's hand while he is on his offense.
No, Rai was shuffling. It was like, is it random? No. That would have been crazy. It was just like, you randomly discard a card. You choose. He takes Face Purgatory.
I wish it was crazy, but I wish I had the choice in my Reinhard decks when I play the Face Flashback, I guess.
Yeah, that is true. So I think you're happy here, Dennis, because he discarded a real card and not the Tiger. And here we're just gonna see he start blocking with the armor to get the full value. And as I pointed out, there's not been a great turn to Husk this entire game.
Yes, no, you are definitely correct. I was expecting. Well, I guess we still haven't seen the full Zen pop-off turn, but I was expecting a turn with like some absolute degeneracy. I was expecting maybe multiple Art of Wars, Stubby, everything being pumped to the high heavens.
It can happen.
but yeah, so since we didn't get there, perhaps this is indeed the smart
Yes.
decision. And the interesting thing is that Dennis only gave up 2 cards blocking, but because of that phase progressor, he drew another card.
Yes, and he might draw 2 more cards here because of the Soul Shackles. He's at 3. Let us see if the casino is nice to him. And the thing about Chain is that as long as you keep blues, you have the opportunity to do those things. Mies. Hey, I hit. It's a yellow, so it's not the optimal play, but he can work with this. So now he's down 10 life because of the brutal Warmongers. So he might just be suffering from the tempo problem right now. But he's gonna try to do his best to see if he can get gaming. Place 1.
The main worry for Dennis here is that he's not able to present lethal. And if he cannot present lethal, there is a good chance that Rai will just give the helm, give the boots, and then overwhelm Dennis with a gigantic turn. And Dennis only has 9 health to spare with, so that there is a good chance he would not survive that. But
this Dennis has to pay for this card. It's not free, and he it should be 5 as well. So there's a there we go. They
just still happen.
No, wait. Huh? I think there's a little confusion here.
What is the name of that card again? Because we had it.
It's Riftbind. Okay, he responded to the attack trigger, but he hadn't paid for the card. He should have 1 floating.
Perhaps it is possible that both.
Yes, so he has 1 floating. No, he should have 0 floating right now. This is.
He pitched a blue, and the Riftbind costs 1.
Yes.
So if he paid, if he paid for 1 somewhere else, then he would be on 1 energy.
Yeah, no, but he paid Riftbind, Creepers, Snuff Out.
Yes. Then with a blue, then perhaps there is something we missed, something that makes a card cheaper. It is. I was having this discussion earlier when we had we were casting the Levia game.
Yes.
But sometimes players just miss stuff. But there is also sometimes it happens that that we do catch it on the camera. But again, it's hard to tell from here. It could be that that is something on our part that we miss. We have as good advantage as we can get.
Yeah.
It's not quite as.
I really don't want to do anything, but okay. Yes. They fixed it. Oh, thank God! Because if he started attacking with Rosetta turn, I might have had to do something. So nice they catched it. Whew! I was scared there. But now I have the fear of God in me. If I'm Dennis, I'm at 9, and he did the same thing where we just shoved his equipment.
Yes, and we've seen a naked man in socks. We've seen a naked man with a hat, and now we are seeing a naked man with gloves on.
Yes. So if there's an Art of War here, it's almost 100% lights out. But here's the free Art of War.
Yes.
Kind of crazy that you can start with it in play.
It looks like Rai does not have an Art of War in his hand based on what I could just see.
Oh,
but I was wrong. It's right
He's the best. And then the tiger is going to go bye-bye. Meow. Into the nether with you.
And that is most likely.
Oh, he's actually thinking about keeping the tiger. So he might not have the bonds package. He might not have a gust wave. And then he might need the tiger for go again purposes.
It's interesting to see what he's going to do here.
Yeah, because usually they just land the tiger. Yeah, I was like, nah, this tiger's gotta go. Just draw the good cards. So this is the dreaded turn that Dennis tried not to avoid. Tried to avoid.
Yeah, so we see him using the Art of War, a tried and true classic, was recently banned from Classic Constructed. Allows the player to banish a card from hand as an extra cost, but deal more damage. And he's also activated the Stubby Hammers, which means every card that he plays that has 3 or less attack will gain +1, and that is going to be most of his.
It's going to get +2. So this is crazy because he played Double Strike, which is a card that after the attack is done, it banishes and then you can attack again. So this is a 0 for 6. Holy moly! And there's it's a second one.
Ooh, that is not what you. I mean, you're already worried if you're Dennis in this situation, but seeing your opponent open up with the double strike is.
Yes, and now Dennis has no cards in hand and no armor, so Rai can just do whatever he wants to get to the finish line. So this is 1-for-5 go again. Pretty good. I heard people pay for that.
So we see Dennis going down to 4.
Yes. Oh yeah, I see the. He didn't have a lot of combo cards in hand.
Yeah, so we see him pitch. Does he have another? Because now, this is the question. Because if he doesn't have something he can attack with, it looks like he can.
Yeah. It's super over.
I was about to say, because if you can't find the last attack, then you are going to regret those 2.
Needles.
Needles.
Boom. And there it is. Good game. Well played by both players. So kind of, this is the first time they are on stream, so no malice here. Just sometimes you brain fart, as we saw with some of the players during the round. So only kudos to them. Well played, both of them. I think Dennis was in the driver's seat a lot of the match, but I think that he drew a little too much of the shadow cards because they're pretty bad to draw, because they're underrated, but they're better in the. They're better from the banish. That's why they're underrated. But that one of Warmongers, it took all the tempo in the world.
Yes, you are completely correct. It was definitely a match where I mean, we called it a little bit at the start when we said Chain is a train that needs to start rolling, and he was just getting there. He was just gathering up steam.
Yes,
and that's when the TNT hit the rails.
I think also the sacrifice of the first Soul Shackle for the stuff out. I think that also did not go in Dennis' favor because he just discarded a random bad blue card, which I think Rai wanted him to do. I think that was his intention, trying to bait him to kill his own aura.
Yeah, that was definitely a little bit of mind gaming there, and then destroying that Soul Shackles then put him behind. And because the thing is, it was actually a very close game. It just doesn't look like it, because in CC, very close games often end with
1-1, 2-1.
Exactly, but like 9 health to 15 health in a game mode where people can reliably
they burst you for 30 damage.
Exactly, that is a closer game than it was. It could have been if somehow the Chain had managed to survive on that 1 hit point. We do have the power turnover. The stubbies are now out for Zen, and he doesn't have any weapons, so it's going to be hard for him to do the Kodachi lock that you normally do with Ninja. There is something maybe, but alas, it was not to be.
No, I was rooting for Dennis. I'm a huge Roomblade fan myself, but what this game highlights is that LL has a lot of lines, and you get either very punished or very rewarded. So it's in CC you can make a couple mistakes and catch back up, but in LL if you choose the wrong line, you take 10 damage and now you're at that 9, and the said player is ready to kill you.
Exactly, but let's take a look and see what this means.
clean Swiss King can defeat the top 8 curse.
So stay
See you
with
soon.
us. Back soon.